it's your boy Deuces, and today I am going to be doing a deck profile for that Predaplant deck I played in the last ranked video. I got a comment asking me for the Formioli, so I'm coming through with the Formioli. Pretty much, I'm just gonna go through these cards, what little combos I have in my head, and just kind of talk about each card and what it can do. So, start off with Predaplant Cerution. By the way, I do not know how to name these cards, and I personally just don't care. I like the names I've given them, and I just don't care. So, to me, this card's name is Predaplant Cerution. And what he does is when an opponent's monster declares a direct attack, you can special summon this card from hand after damage calc. If this card battled, you get to pop the monster. A lot of guys don't read the card and just attack right into it and then pop their own monster. Also, when he dies, you get to add a Predap card, which includes Predaplast, the Predaplast spell card, as well as any Predaplant monster. If you do play any other additional Predaplant cards besides what is in this deck list, this card does work for that. Anything with Predap in it will be searched, making him just a really good card. The fact that he can just come out, if an opponent declares in a direct attack is just awesome. I used to play one of them in the actual TCG, but 3 copies is really the way to go. This card's a lot better than I give it credit for. Predaplant Flight Trap, I run 1 copy of it simply because XYZ and Link don't really work against him, because his main gimmick is he's a level eater. Pretty much, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls, put a counter on them, and if this card battles a monster with an equal or lower level, you destroy that monster and eat its level. So let's say, example, Blue Eyes White Dragon, you throw your counter on it and then eat it, and then attack it. You pop your ability, because with a Preda counter, Blue Eyes is level 1, you eat it, and it swallows the original level of the monster. So now, Blue Eyes is level 8, and this card's level 2. So now, Fly Trap is level 10. Meaning that if your opponent, somehow gets another Blue Eyes on the field and tries to attack this card, it won't work because it does it from the big start of the damage step. The moment they try to attack you, as soon as the game sees, hey, they're a level 8 trying to attack you a level 10, you can instantly kill it. So this card's just a really good, gimmicky card, but not too good to run because Link and XYZ can just he doesn't exist to those cards. Because, levels and stuff don't exist to XYZ because of rank, and Links don't even have levels or rank. They're just blank up there. So, yeah, Fly Trap, absolutely awesome card. He saved my buttocks quite a bit in his own right, which is why he still has a spot in the deck, and I still run the singular copy of the Fly Trap. Absolutely love this card. Also, in that fake situation I made, if he's at 10 stars and he's attacked into with an 8-star Blue Eyes, he eats that Blue Eyes' level. So he becomes an 18-star Fly Trap, meaning he could, unless they use an ability to kill you, he can kill any card in the game with his effect. Think about that one. Onto the boyo. Like I said, Cerution rule. I don't know how to pronounce these, and I also don't care. My dog, Chalmisadut. I know it's clammy old Dunsu. I don't know. That's my dog Chalmisadut. Monsters with Predator counter that you use are treated as dark. So, pretty much the main focus of this dude, you always need 3 copies of this card. This guy is the main deck staple of this deck, because he is your polymerization, as well as if the enemy has a Predator counter, he becomes a super poly, being able to use any enemy monster with a Predator counter as a fusion material. So within a format with only semi-limited super polys, as much super poly as you can get is always more welcome. Chalmisadut is a goat, and it's just a goat. I absolutely love this card. A card's goated when you draw into him and that sigh of relief comes out, and that is definitely Chalmisadut. It's not just discard a card. There's been many times where I've just been in a pickle and I draw this guy, but I don't have another monster in my hand, so it's almost like I drew nothing, because without that one monster, this card is nothing. So him being limited is kind of cool with me, because like I said, he's kind of cloggy. But if you do have that one monster, you can special summon one Predaplant monster from your deck, and that is any of them. So this card can be a playmaker or a play killer. He's such a double-edged sword that running at least one copy in your deck is essential. And usually with him, you're going to try and search out your one copy of Predaplant Darlingtonia Cobra. Pretty much, if it's special summoned by the effect of a Predaplant monster, you can add one poly, which is going to be your super poly. You can only use this card's effect once per duel, so literally you only need one copy. And this card is a Garnet, by the way. If you draw into this card, throw it away as quickly as possible, because, or, you know, there's no really way to throw it back in your deck with this deck, so throwing it away is just your best option, which having a spare card you want to discard in this deck is not a bad thing whatsoever. Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, this card needs no introduction, possibly the best hand trap in the game, though it is arguable, people have their preferences, Effect Veiler, freaking Nibiru, etc, etc. You guys know the meta, come on now. Predaplant Spinodonia, again, remember what I said during narration. If this card's normal summon, you can target a face-up monster, place a Preda counter on him, and if it is level 2 or higher, it becomes level 1. After damage calc, if he battles a lower or equal to monster, he can special summon a Predaplant. So pretty much an Orpheus Scorpio with a bit more conditioning, but the fact that he can come out and put a counter on somebody, as well as him being level 4, so he can fight most normal dudes, you know, most normal monsters and stuff, like normal cards you would see around. He can bring out Darlingtonia Cobra and other cards, you know, very easily. Spinodonia is such a good card for this deck. Running 3 copies is awesome with him. You can run less if you favor another card, but there's nothing else really in the Predaplant archetype that I like as much as him. Like, I've tried running 2 and then the 1 Banksy Ogre, but Banksy Ogre usually results in a brick, while Spinodonia usually results in dubs. So, onto Arima the Wicked Warden. That was the end of the Predaplant monsters of the deck. The rest are going to be kind of like my own thing. Pretty much 3 copies of Arima the Wicked Warden. It's because you're going to be playing 3 copies of Lair of Darkness, so I have put no terraforming or any field spell searchers in this deck. The only one I really need is Arima because he's the most versatile card in this deck. I can discard this card and get a Lair of Darkness. If I already have a Lair of Darkness in my hand, Arima instantly becomes discard fodder, or I can summon him onto the field, because 1700 isn't bad, especially in some situations. You might even get a direct attack with Arima if you're having like a pretty stale game. On top of the fact that he has an ability where you can tribute 1 dark monster and draw a card. So if you have a pretty banging board and you just want to draw an extra card, throw Arima down and then discard Arima or tribute Arima himself, and then you get to draw a card, as well as if you have Lair of Darkness out and you do that effect, you get to give yourself a Torment token, which is just a nice little defense piece for you to have. Moving on to the 3 copies of Fallen of Albaz. This is kind of the sub-engine, I guess, because I don't really run Dogmatica or anything else. Like, I don't even run Nadir Servant. I literally run just 3 copies of Fallen of Albaz. And the reason I do is because he's really OP in this deck. If you normally special summon, except during damage step, you can discard 1 card, fusion summon 1 monster from extra deck using monsters on either field of fusion material. But you cannot use other monsters you control as fusion. Literally, this card is made to use your opponent's board as your own, which is the point of the whole deck, as well as the whole Predaplant archetype. He fits like a glove. This card is he is the catalyst of so many plays. He has his own fusion cards he can go into with Titaniclad, which is him plus a monster with 2500 or more, as well as Brygrin, which is him and a level 8 monster. He's way easier to go into, so that's why you run the 2, and I run the 1 of him just in case. But there is more Albaz support coming out, I believe, with the new structure deck that's coming. Albaz Strike or something, I believe it's called. I'm not too familiar with the TCG nowadays. But yeah, there's more Albaz support coming, and I saw one of the cards is literally Albaz plus a dark monster, which would just make this deck so much more stupid. So if that comes out, if that drops, then I'm for sure gonna be playing that card. I wish this dog would shut up. Let's see. Besides Albaz, I have the 2 copies of Radian, the multi-dimensional kaiju. Pretty much, he's ran because he's the only dark kaiju in the whole game, and he's really good to have because you can just pretty much pop a card on the opponent's field, put him there, and then you know you don't have to deal with whatever their boss card is. You just have a decently beefy dude on their field. You know, kaijus are a really effective archetype, but on top of that, he's a really good card to go into with Albaz because he has 2800. He can go straight into a Titaniclad, so really decent place to make with him. He's also dark, so you can, you know, oh, they're playing a light deck and you can't get your Layer of Darkness, Radiant Dumb real quick, and then Albaz, or Radium Dumb real quick, and then Super Poly, using this card and, you know, whatever Predaplant you have. Like, so many different plays can go into with the kaiju, so I definitely like running 2. 3 gets kind of bricky, but it isn't 100% bad. Like, it can get bricky, but it can also save your buttocks, so I do like the 2. As for the spell cards, a lot of really basics, Raigeki, Harpy's Feather, Duster, 1 copy of regular Poly, just because Super Poly is semi-limited, so 1 copy of regular Poly is just a good thing to have. You know, you don't need to keep it, it can be discard fodder, but if you're pricking really hard and you just need to get a Rafflesia on the field just to, you know, kind of kick the generator, like just get it moving, regular Poly does the job. Monster Reborn, I mean, if you guys don't know what Monster Reborn does, man, you watch any Yu-Gi-Oh series, I'm pretty sure they use it. Pretty much this card's here because any of your own cards are going to be really OP to bring back. If you want to sub this with Call of the Haunted, even though I don't know why you would, but you can. Like, Call of the Haunted works really well. All these cards have a lot of double use, it's just they don't float. So being able to go back into your own card as well as take a card out of your opponent's graveyard is not a bad effect. 3 copies of Allure of Darkness, simply because it is the only draw power this deck can really use. It uses all dark monsters, so it fits in like a glove. Duality cancels special summoning, which is all this deck does, so it's a no-go. And Extravagance uses extra deck. You need your whole extra deck, so Extravagance is also a no-go. 1 copy of Lightning Storm. Lightning Storm, you guys know Lightning Storm. Really good card to have, especially if going second, which this deck excels at. 3 copies of Layer of Darkness, simply because you're going to be trying, if they tribute, you're going to be flooding their board with tokens for you to use with Super Poly, as well as making every single face-up card dark, which means if they're using Blue Eyes, they're now using Blue Eyes but with a dark attribute, so you can still use it with Super Poly. Also, the 3 copies of Arima, you can directly search them out. So, yeah, really amazing card to go with the Predaplant archetype. 3 copies of MST, just good back row killer. I'm not a big fan of Twin Twister because of the discard cost. This deck already has a lot of discarding, you know, like I don't really need them anymore. 2 copies of Super Poly, absolutely essential. If they make it unlimited, a 3rd is going in immediately, like no questions asked. Predaplast, this card's pretty much used to go into plays and just kind of spread some Preda counters on the board. Predaclass and Chalmisadu in your hand is always an instant play because you can show the Chalmisadu. It gives 1 monster on their field a counter, and of course, like I said earlier, Chalmisadu turns that monster pretty much, if it has a counter, into a dark monster, and then you can pretty much fusion summon straight up, which right there you already have a starting Venom, and you know, plays and plays. Besides that, the 2 trap cards, Threatening Roar, just because it's one of the best trap cards. Your opponent can't declare an attack. Better than block attack, mirror force, any of that stuff, because it just stops the entire phase. Like, not really a crazy much they can do unless they're omni-negating or stuff, but still a really good card that has saved my life duel after duel. And of course, a Solemn Judgment, simply because it is the GOAT. This dude's been around since the beginning, and he's never gonna go away. Screw half your life points. You only need, you know, as long as you have 100, you're still in the game. So being able to negate whatever is worth more than your life points. Onto the extra deck, Rafflesia. Your main searcher, this guy is gonna come in and search out your Super Polys. He's the fusion backbone of this deck. He only costs a Predaplant and 1 dark monster, which with Layer of Darkness is not hard to do. He's also really just broken, because once per turn you can target one monster on the field with a level less than or equal to this card and banish it. Which with Predacounters make any card level 1. So if you hit a Blue Eyes with a Predaclowner, and it becomes level 1, yes, you can banish it with this card. And this isn't a Blackluster Soldier. You can use this effect and attack after. So this card is literally better than Blackluster Soldier and Blue Eyes Alternative. Also, if that wasn't enough, if it's fighting an opponent's face-up monster until the end of the turn, that monster loses 1,000 and this card gains 1,000. As well as, like I said, being a Polymerization Searcher. Yeah, this card's essential. This card's way too OP. Starving Venom Dragon, pretty much just a good thing to have with Layer of Darkness and Super Poly. You know, you see this a lot in Super Poly decks. He's kind of the staple for Super Poly. 2 dark monsters on the field, so Layer of Darkness, your opponent has 2 monsters on the field. There you go. Free Starving Venom, and then you can just attack him directly with 28. Titaniclad, all 3 of these cards are with the Albaz. I went over them a little bit earlier. Not really nothing too crazy. Like, I don't find, like, he gets attack equal to original levels for the monster times 100, but it's never anything crazy substantial. Like, the most he'll maybe get to is like 3,500. Like a 10-star will give you like 1,000, so 35. So nothing too crazy, though it is nice to have, and it's a lot easier to go into than Brygrand, who's also still good. He can't be destroyed by battle. But you control this fusion summon card, your monster cannot target other monsters you control with effects, so he becomes the Glory Hog, thus the name, the Glory Dragon. On to Predaplant Overutum? I don't know. But like I said, Solution Rule. 3 dark monsters on the field is all it costs to bring out this card, and he floats quite well as negating any summon from the extra deck, which is really, really OP. 2 copies of him just because, you know, he floats, because if you put a Predacounter on him while he's in the graveyard, he will come back. But I'm more safe than sorry, guys, so I run the 2 just because I love this card that much. 1 copy of Greedy Venom. I got him in a pack and I just threw him in. He doesn't really come out too often, but when he does, he does enough of an attack point impact, as well as having Fusion Dragon's effect of popping any special summon monsters when he leaves the field. Also a good way, if you have Layer of Darkness on the field, a good way of getting level 8 or higher monsters off the field. So yeah. Shadow Lich. When I do my Orifice Scorpio into Darlington Cobra play, I sometimes like going into Lich because I don't have I don't have the discard for the Super Poly sometimes when I get it from Darlingtonia. So I will just, you know, if I need the bit of attack buff, I will just put them together and then throw Shadow Lich out and then pop his token effect. He's not necessary. Him and Tornado Dragon are not necessary in this deck. You can put whatever you want. Nightmare Cerberus, Nightmare Unicorn, whatever. This is just my personal preference, just what I've pulled. And then a Tornado Dragon, he's pretty much just another MST. He's an XYZ MST. I love the ability to be able to pop back row, especially against really annoying back row decks. Hell, Lich. So yeah, Tornado Dragon's an awesome fit. And then of course, you know, probably the greatest Predaplant card in existence, because you see it in every other deck besides Predaplant. Predaplant Burt Anaconda. Give up 2 G's, and this card becomes a Super Poly. Like, no other way to TLDR. That's what it does. Anyways, that's about it for the deck. Let me know what you guys think down below. If you guys like the Albaz engine, or if you played something similar, and you know, any card suggestions are welcome. I'm always open. You know, there's like damn near 1 million Yu-Gi-Oh cards out there by now, so you know, any little bit helps. You know, any help from the community helps. Anyways, this has been your boy Deuces, and I will talk to you guys next time.